Okay, so Miriam, tell us, where were you last night watching the debate, and what do you think were some of the breakout moments?
There were a few different moments. There were a couple of those moments that were sort of the one-line zingers that sort of are the memorable lines.
The coalition of tax raisers.
We must protect and fight for every job in this province.
Notley, I think, came out with the most of those. The most memorable one from her was when she turned to both Brian Jean and Jim Prentice and said to Jim Prentice, "That's no way to talk about a donor."
I'm not really sure if this is the best way to be talking to a donor.
Referring to Brian Jean's $10,000 donation to his PC leadership campaign last summer. It's pretty good to hit two birds with one stone there like that. As Paula was saying, in terms of Brian Jean and this was his opportunity to introduce himself to Albertans. I thought it was really interesting that he came out and said really definitively, man-made climate change is real and we have to address it. He was definitely trying to, show that contrast between himself and Danielle Smith, because we know that she got herself into some trouble during the last election when she said that the science wasn't settled, and people will remember she got heckled and booed during a live debate on that issue. So I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, Jim Prentice and his comment that math is difficult.
I know that math is difficult.
When he and Rachel Notley were sparring over corporate taxes, did not go over well.
I think one of the other things that's important here, the collapse of the Liberals on the stage, which hit its nadir when David Swan dropped all his notes on the floor.
It was painful.
It was painful.
And going back to the whole Brian Jean being dismissed during the debate, the problem is with him is he didn't do himself any favors. He didn't deviate from his script at all. Regardless of the question that was asked, he reverted back to his talking points. He sounded very monotone. He sounded very uninspired because he continued to use his talking points as a crutch.
Tax hikes. Your taxes. Raise your taxes. Taxes, tax hikes.
And I don't just simply mean his notes, the notes that were in front of him. Yeah, I mean sort of the high level talking points that they would put in press releases. It was sort of very verbatim, and he didn't do enough to inject himself back into the debate.